What's going on, people? We are Tottenham TV, back here another day of Tonali and Fernandes talk. And,
when's it going to end?
Literally, we need it to end. We need it to end. But I hope you all enjoyed a fantastic night of the World Cup last night. Bloody hell, the Germans are going home. Auf Wiedersehen to them. And the Netherlands went packing as well last night. So in our sweepstake, that's me pretty much done.
Really, who's your main team?
Netherlands.
Nah.
And I also had Japan.
Oof, tough day for you.
Yeah, so for me, yesterday was pretty much it. I've only got Australia left.
You never know. Maybe the Socceroos can pull a surprise.
Maybe if Big Ange was their manager, you never know. But, nah, I'm done in the sweepstake. Me and Josh King are proper in the mud. You know, we had Germany and Netherlands. Everyone else is live and kicking. But,
it's coming home.
You know, England have been terrible. England
Doesn't matter.
Have really been bad.
It's coming home. Well, they were good against Croatia.
Now we've seen everyone, like, quite a bit. I can't see anyone beating the French. The French look super, super strong.
It's just their front line, man. Well, they've obviously got good defence, but like that depth in the front line. But I also still feel like they're very individualistic. But I guess that works for them. Doesn't really. They've always been like that. So, yeah, I think the French are the team to beat, aren't they? Let's be honest.
Yeah, exactly. So, and also they got an easy ride by Germany losing yesterday. They got Paraguay in the next round.
Yeah, which is
so they've got a fairly decent route to the semis. But yeah, we'll see how it goes.
Well, the quarters. I don't know who they play in the semis in the quarters. I mean, because if they beat Paraguay, it's quarters, not semis.
No, the Paraguay will be last 16 actually. So France.
See World Cup bracket.
France are on the same side as. It's the other side, right?
Here we go. So France beat Sweden. They'll play. Oh wow!
So I mean, they'll
Canada or Morocco.
Yeah, they'll play Morocco in the quarters.
Oh, they really do have an easy route to the semis.
And then they'll play probably Spain in the semi-final. This is what I was saying. They've got an easy ride pretty much till the semis.
Yeah, but to be fair, England. Well, maybe they could play Brazil in the quarters.
England have got to beat Congo, and then we've got Mexico.
Or Ecuador.
Mexico or Ecuador. And if it is Mexico or Ecuador, you know, both hard games. Then Brazil in the quarterfinals, and then Argentina in the semi-finals. I can't see England getting through that. I really can't. No.
Oh, I think they'll get through that.
What, you think they're going to be able to hold out Messi first and foremost? I don't think so.
Oh, I thought you meant won't get through to the semis.
I think there's a chance to get through to the semis, but
I'm confident they'll get through to the
semis.
I can. I think Argentina are good, but they're beatable.
Yeah, England are also good, but they're very much beatable.
Yeah, but we're a good team.
So are Argentina. They're world champions.
Yeah, you're right. No, look, it's tough. It's not going to be easy, but I think England can do it.
Yeah.
I think that's a 50-50
Would you be saying
game.
that if they weren't in your sweepstake?
Yeah, I'd be saying it.
I don't think so.
Tuchel, this is Tuchel's bread and butter, mate. He knows how to manage these tournaments.
He's never managed in a World Cup.
Yeah, but he's very good in the cup tournaments. He's very good at knockouts. He's very good at knockout manager.
I just can't see it, man. I just think England have looked so bad. So bad. But anyway, we'll see. We'll cross that bridge when it comes to it. Before we get into it, we've got a lot to speak about today. So first and foremost, let's give a big up to OK Jersey. Get your jerseys 15% off, people. Look at that. What Sim's
Still
wearing.
there? 15%?
Unbelievable.
Still live?
I think it is still live, you know.
Come on, look at this. Beautiful. Beautiful quality. Affordable prices. And even more affordable if we use our code SPURS15 for the best replica jerseys out there at OK Jersey. Still got time if you want to order for the World Cup or for the upcoming season. Are they live yet, the new Spurs shirts, or not yet?
They're not live. They're there. They're locked and loaded.
You
ready
can pre-order?
You can't pre-order, but they're ready to go very, very soon, I'm told. Very, very soon. There you go. They're on the website, but you can't order them just yet. So
we'll get some retro jerseys then, if you while you can.
This is the one that you should be getting. this gold trim with the blue shirt. It is beautiful, people. Look at that.
That is nice.
It's beautiful.
Very nice.
And top quality as well. You know how many times it's been in the wash now? I wear it like every day. So, yeah, it's top stuff. 15% off, £15 shirts for 15% off. You know, getting a bargain here at WeAreTottenhamTV with okjersey.com. Code and link is in the live chat. But enough of that. Let's get into the Tottenham update. And we're going to start off with the biggest story of the day, and that is Sandro Tonali. There's been quite a lot that has come out about Sandro Tonali today, and some good, some bad. So, Samuel Luckhurst says that Tottenham are now prepared to offer Matheus Fernandes a higher salary to trump Man United's offer for 80 million rated Portugal international. I mean, he's not in the World Cup, but Portuguese international. Sammy Mockbell last night said Tottenham are advancing in their efforts for a move for Sandro Tonali and are growing in confidence of securing a move. Actually, that was for...
Fernandes was the first one.
Fernandes was the first one. Elias Burke of The Athletic says that Tottenham are pushing close to both deals for Fernandes and Tonali, with the possibility for development on both fronts made more straightforward as neither player is at the World Cup. Something will happen this week, he's saying. Marca then claimed that Man City are considering a move for Sandro Tonali and could overtake Tottenham in the race. Gazzetta Italia saying Manchester City are ready to enter the race for Sandro Tonali following the appointment of Enzo Maresca. Jack Gorn of the Mail saying that Rodri is set to have surgery after the World Cup and expected to miss the start of the season. And that's what SZY was actually saying not long ago, saying, you know, Man City going for Sandro Tonali could be tied in to what happens with Rodri, and if he's going to miss it, I don't know how significant the surgery is and how long he's going to miss, but if he is going to miss a significant part of the season, maybe there is some legs to this. Lee Ryder says that Man City understood to make a fresh inquiry for Sandro Tonali, with Tottenham yet to return for a follow-up bid. So a few publications now kind of going off the back of Man City entering the race for Sandro Tonali. The most reliable journalists still saying that Tottenham are very much in the driving seat here.
Yeah, but as we know in football, as I've said many times, it can change very, very quickly. So Tottenham can be in the driving seat. If they don't get it signed, sealed and delivered, it's always subject to change, isn't it? I think the most positive things we've heard about this deal is the fact that Tottenham are prepared to pay massive wages, you know, close to 275. You know, are Man City prepared to go that high? Also, Spurs are prepared to, you know, they've already had, an £80 million bid rejected, and also sounds like they're prepared to go quite high, a lot higher than that, and maybe even with add-ons to 100 million. Are Man City prepared to do that? Those are obviously big question marks. They've just signed Elliot Anderson. I've just seen a report, I think it was from Romano, saying they're very interested in Boadi as well. So are they really going to go for Anderson, Boadi and Tonali? If not, is Tonali, you know, Boadi's probably going to be a much cheaper option. Is Tonali going to, you know, are they prepared to push the belt out? They might be inquiring, they might be looking at what the deal is at the moment, but are they willing to go as far as Tottenham? We have heard, obviously, that there's already been very positive discussions with Tonali and Tottenham as well. So
we've actually heard further than that. We've heard that he's given De Zerbi his word.
Yeah, that's what Damasio said. So is he a man of his word? Maybe he wouldn't want to backtrack. But at the end of the day, if all of what I've said can still be true, and Man City, if they match our fee, if they match our wages, if Maresca has, I mean, he's also Italian, isn't he, Maresca? If he has a good conversation with Tonali and he sells him on the project happening there, that could sway him. So as much as all of it's still positive for Tottenham, I think the fact that Man City are coming into this has got to be a worry, because at the end of the day, they are Man City. They are a team that is, you know, aiming to challenge for a title next season. Are we at that stage just yet? If you're Tonali, it's a safer bet, isn't it? In terms of, if you're ambitious as a footballer, of all things being equal, money and all that kind of stuff. Obviously, if Tottenham offering a higher wage package, then that gives us some sort of leverage. But if all things being equal, then it's going to be tough to sell him on the Man City thing. But I don't know if Man City are willing to go as high as Tottenham at this moment in time. We heard that they offered a higher financial package than Man City for Semenyo. I know Semenyo obviously ended up picking Man City Obviously, a bit different. We're in a relegation battle at the time, all this different stuff. So I kind of understand where financials maybe weren't as much. But right now, clean slate going to the new season. De Zerbi already shown what, an impact he's making at Tottenham. So maybe if the financial package in this could sway him in a sense, the financials.
Yeah, look, I think that it could sway him. It depends what he wants. Does he want to go straight fight for the league next season? Does he want to make history in his career, or does he want to join a growing project and get paid more? That's what it comes down to. So we'll see. I mean, I don't doubt that Man City can pay those wages if they need to. They've got a lot of players on that kind of ballpark figure in terms of wages in their squad. I don't doubt that Man City can go match our bid as well for Newcastle, but I do. There's a little feeling of me. I've got a funny feeling that this is kind of Newcastle putting things in the press, because it's been reported that Spurs are the only ones that are seriously in for Tonali right now. And obviously we've had that bid rejected. We haven't made that second bid, or we've heard that we haven't made that second bid. So it might be just Newcastle being like, look, our player's unsettled now. We have to accept he's leaving, but we need to drive up that price. So I've just got a feeling this could be just Man City putting things in. I mean, Newcastle putting things in the press just to drive up that price a bit more.
I mean, according to Capology, the 250 or 275 that we're potentially looking to offer him, that puts him on more than Rodri.
Yeah.
I mean, are they willing to do that?
Yeah, Rodri's due for a new contract this
That's
summer.
the thing, yeah, true. But are they willing to make him one of their highest paid players? Is he actually that important to them? Whereas to us, he is that important. I mean, they might be. I'm not saying they're not, but I'm just saying, that's a question, isn't it?
And also, you got to look at it. Bernardo Silva's gone now. Marmoush could be going. Stones has gone. They've got big wages off the book this summer.
Yeah, it's true. I'm not saying it's a definite no. I'm just saying that is a question. For us, he is going to be that important. He is going to be. We're willing to make him our highest paid player because he's that important to us.
If he was to join City, he would get significant game time. He'd be one of their main players in midfield. That's for sure. And I think his wages would reflect that.
Yeah, I don't disagree. I think when it comes to those big figures that we're talking about for Tottenham, I just think we're more certain to want to pay that than Man City, who maybe and are in. Obviously, as we said, already spent big money on Anderson. So are they willing to as well commit such large financial outlay for Tonali if they're not 100% sure on him? That's all I'm asking. Maybe if the fees were a bit lower, I think this should be more guaranteed. But we are talking about massive figures here. So I think there's just a question mark whether they think he's worth that much. I don't know. We'll see. Because I think he is to us.
Yeah, I mean, you look at Elliot Anderson's just gone for 115 million. Are they really going to spend in the space of a week over 200 million for these two players?
But then, are we? That's because that's the talk of us.
It's true. It's true. But Elliot Anderson is not worth the money that they paid. Sandro Tonali is not worth the money that we're talking about. You're only worth as much as someone's willing to pay. And I think if they're desperate for the player and they know Spurs are going to go to this figure, they're going to have to go to that figure if they want him in.
That's what I'm saying. But as I've said, Man City are known as well that if the figures are just too much for them, if they don't think the player's worth it, it's not they can't afford it. It's just they're not going to go for it. And they've done that before. They've walked away from deals. They rarely actually overpay I find for players.
They just did for Anderson though.
Yeah, but you got to also remember Anderson he's starting for England for the last couple of years. He's actually been one of the better centre mids. He's grown a lot in the last 2 years. When Rice was at West Ham, people say he's not 100 million, but look at him now. So I think obviously Anderson for 115, it sounds outrageous, but I mean, considering what Rice signed, how many years ago was it? 3 years ago for 100 million. I mean, when you put it into that context, is it that outrageous in this current market? I don't know. I'm not saying he's worth that. What is worth 100 million? What does that look like? I don't even know anymore.
Look, I don't even know anymore. They're talking about Malo Gusto for 75 million. They're talking about Alex Scott with a year left in his contract for over 80 million.
Like
You know
someone
what I
in
mean?
the comments says,
prices-
he says Anderson is 60 million max. It's like, well, we're demanding that similar for Bergvall. So how can Anderson be that?
Yeah.
Like the market is different. Like people just got to get used to these big
The
figures.
market has just gone nuts. Like this summer, like I think it's even crazier than the last few summers. Like this summer, it's just gone into overdrive. It really has. The numbers being bandied about for some of these players is crazy talk. It really is. But you look at it as well. These English clubs, because there's so much money in the Premier League,
Yeah.
that is what's driving up this price. They don't need to sell.
Exactly.
They don't need to
We've
sell.
all got
so-
money.
Exactly.
Like 60 million to Forest isn't what it used to be. Like that to now, you know, they know that if they want to replace Anderson, you know, they might need to spend a lot of money, or there needs to be a lot more money in it to make it worth it for them because of the money they're already earning from the Premier League. So, yeah, I think. So what I'm saying is, yeah, I think as Anderson for 115 million, when you put it into context with the Rice deal, I actually don't think it's that crazy in this. And he's one of the best midfielders, I think, at the moment in the Premier League, and his stock has risen. So we'll see. We'll see if they go for him and they go for Tonali, and
I
if
think
they're
we're
going to
gonna
go
get
for
Tonali.
Boadi.
I do think we're going to get Tonali. I do think this is just a bit of smoke and mirrors from Newcastle to try drive
To be
this
fair,
price up.
all we've heard, it could be true. They're inquiring. My point being is it could all be true what we're hearing, and it still puts Tottenham potentially in the driving seat, just because we haven't heard that Man City are prepared to put the money on the table for Tonali that we are. So until we hear that, then I'm going to start to be worried.
The problem is if they inquire and then Tonali suddenly gets his head turned by Man City, that's where it can become a bit of a problem for us. What if he comes out and being like, I only want to join City, I don't want to join Tottenham? That's when it becomes an issue.
Yeah, it depends how much they're willing to put down, because it could be an unrealistic fee they're willing to pay. And if they can't get Newcastle down there, then it ain't going to happen.
Yeah. So we'll see what happens. But, you know, the Athletic saying, well, he was saying that on Fernandes, but we'll see. We'll see. I still think this deal's going to get done. I really do.
Romano, he hasn't said anything, has he? So
Tonali and Tottenham, Tottenham and Tonali.
Exactly. And until Romano changes tune, I'm okay for now.
Yeah, we need just Ornstein just to put this to bed. I'm just fed up of these two sagas, man. Fernandes and Tonali. It's just all we've been speaking about for 2 weeks now, and nothing's changed.
Yeah, but the reality is, just stick on for Tonali for a moment. I think with Fernandes, we'll talk about him in a minute, but Tonali, there obviously is a reason why this hasn't been wrapped up. Right, we haven't got the agreement. Is he keeping his options open? Is Newcastle? I think for me, are Newcastle looking to start a bidding war and trying to drive the price up? So,
Of course.
unlike the Fernandes deal, where there seems to be a bit of time pressure with, I don't know if they have to sell. Well, today's the 30th, so I guess
There's no time pressure with either of these deals.
So, I think I think it's in Newcastle's interest, and it's maybe in Tonali's interest, to just let it ride out for a brief moment to see if they could garner the big boys coming in, and maybe that's what they're waiting for. So, I think when it comes to Van Hecker, we got that deal wrapped up very quickly, because maybe. He was very convinced De Zerbi's my guy, and even if the other guys come in, I want to play for him because he's played under him before. And maybe with Tonali, he likes De Zerbi, he likes the idea maybe of coming to Tottenham, but he doesn't want to jump the gun in case could be some movement, and that's probably suits Newcastle as well.
Yeah, I don't know. I just get a feeling it's just Spurs' negotiations with Newcastle. We haven't proposed anything that they're willing to accept just yet in terms of maybe payment structure, how much we want to pay. We'll see. We'll see. I just really hope this gets done. I just don't think. I think this Man City stuff is. I don't think it's going to hold legs. But that could be famous last words because we've seen it all here. We've seen it before, and it always starts with these stupid, tenuous links, doesn't it? And then it just kind of steamrolls into something else. So I guess it's just something we have to keep our eye on and see what happens. Let's talk about Matheus Fernandes then. And by the way, in the bookies, we're still heavy favourites to sign both these players. We actually, with the bookies, make us more likely to sign Matheus Fernandes than Sandro Tonali. And what's been said here is Simon Stone of the BBC saying that Man United have been admirers and remain in talks with West Ham. However, it has appeared that Spurs are more likely to reach West Ham's asking price, thought to be about 80 million. Matheus Fernandes' future should become clearer over the next few days as Man United and Tottenham battle it out to sign the West Ham midfielder. It is anticipated a formal bid is close to being made, which is likely to bring the situation to a head soon. So, I mean, I've heard that for the last couple of weeks now, or last week at least. And nothing seems to progress on Fernandes. It's just like, yeah, Spurs can blow Man United out the water. Spurs can match West Ham's asking price. Why have we not matched our asking price yet? Why is this just like dragging on?
Again, I think, is it how much are we have we put on the table? I don't know if we have actually made an actual bid, have we?
In the press, nobody's made a bid yet.
Yeah, so again, I think similar to Tonali, they're waiting. They're trying to play us off each other. They're trying to drive the price up. So for them, they're playing the waiting game. I mean, what happened to I think there was an idea or the thought that they wanted this done before the 30th. So is that not true?
So what's happened is that West Ham have been taken over now. And,
is that completed, is it?
Pretty much. And I think he's pumped a lot of money into the club now. So they don't actually need to sell anyone. You know, they're actually got quite a bit of money now, West Ham. So they're not under any pressure to sell anyone. If the chairman pretty much said, if anyone wants to leave, they can leave. But we're not going to be held to ransom by anyone. And we're going to stick to our figures.
Mm. Which obviously, that's obviously what he's going to put out, isn't he? Because that gives him more leverage in the negotiation. But in terms of financials and FFP and all this kind of stuff, I was just wondering if what would suit them better if it was before the 30th or not. But I guess the 30th is today, so unless it's happening today, then won't make a difference. But yeah, so I think. When it comes to these big deals, I think similar with Fernandes, I think he likes the idea of playing for us, and we're giving right now the financial package. But I guess they're just waiting to try and see if they can eke out any more Man United, because if that does happen, that gives him more options, and also maybe that increases our offer, and maybe that it works for them. So I think right now we're just playing the waiting game, and it's very frustrating because it's been going on for a couple of weeks, where we've heard both Tonali and Fernandes that it's looking good for Tottenham, but nothing's happened. We haven't been able to get these deals over the line just yet, and I think the reason is I think these clubs are being smart about it. They're not just accepting the first bid that they've received. They're trying to create a bidding war, and it's in their interest at the moment to try and drag this out. But the thing is, it's also not in their interest to try and drag out too long, because I mean, when I say too long, I mean like to August or late, because it gives them less time to replace him, and also it makes the likelihood that we maybe move on and move to another target, or Fernandes starts pushing and that could lower the price. So maybe beginning of July, first half of July, that's kind of the sweet spot, I would say. I don't think they want it for dragging for too long, but I also think playing this game right now works in their favour.
But like, how long are they going to drag this out for? But I feel like Spurs and United could be a lot more proactive on the situation as well. It seems like both the clubs are waiting for another club to make the first move, and nobody's willing to make that first move. It's like a game of chess, it seems like. It's just like, why don't Spurs just go down and slap the money that they're asking for, and then pressure Man United? Because all the story in the press is that saying Man United really want him, but Man United not willing to go up to 80 million. So put that 80 million down on the table if you're willing to pay it. Mm-hmm. We've all been told that we're willing to pay this money. We're willing to blow Man United out the water, and then put the ball in Man United's court. Let's see.
It's a bit of a game of chicken at the moment, isn't it? And look, as much as Levy's gone and all that kind of stuff, you still need to negotiate, don't you? You still need to. You can't just all the time pay whatever. I know we kind of did that with Van Hecke. I mean, we tried to negotiate, didn't we? And we bid 40 and then 45, and we ended up just paying the 52. Whereas we know Levy factually, I mean, he pretty much said it himself, he wouldn't have done that. So we know we're willing to pay the money. But I guess right now we're trying to use some sort of leverage, trying to see if Man United either walk away or...
we're willing to pay the money, that's what the price is going to be, you know what I mean? Like, if it's all out there, Spurs are willing to pay 80 million, I'm telling you, we're not getting in for a penny less.
You never know. Who knows? You're probably right. And if West Ham as well, the need for them to sell is lesser, then that makes a lot of sense, that we're just going to have to pay the money. But the thing is, we don't really know what Man United's position is, do we? Because we know what they're not willing to pay 80, But what are they willing to pay? Is it 65? Is it 70? Is it 75? Because, you know, if they're only, let's say they're only willing to pay 70, you know, and the price is 80, and they walk away, then all of a sudden that strengthens our position, and maybe we could get a bit off. But if they're willing to pay like 75, then, you know, you might as well just pay the 80 kind of thing.
I would just go in for a £75 million move, give them more on loan for the year, and see how we go. Surely there's more players that we've got that West Ham would love in the Championship for next season. Surely that maybe that'll be willing to go there. Do we not have?
Alfie Devine?
Give Radu Dragusin.
Radu?
You know what I mean? These kind of players, like, I think they would smash it at West Ham next season.
Charlison?
Mikey Moore has got to be the biggest one. Like, I think Mikey in the Championship next year for a team that are probably going to be one of the favourites to win the thing next year, it'll be great for both parties.
It'd be a bit dirty to see Mikey Moore in a West Ham shirt, though, wouldn't it?
Look, I keep saying it. There's no rivalry here. What rivalry is this where we just take their players every year? You know what I mean? Like, let them have Mikey. Let them build him up for a year. Like, I'm all for it. I don't care.
Well, I don't, maybe they wouldn't accept that, just a loan deal without any option to buy or anything.
They're not in a position not to accept a loan deal without an option to buy.
I mean, they are.
Not really, because if not, then fine, we'll just pay the money.
Yeah, exactly. So they are in a position.
Look, if they want Mikey, they can have Mikey on loan. But if not, then don't take him. Like, it's no skin off our back.
But my point being is, if you say, yeah, look, we'll put in a sweetener, yeah, we'll give you Mikey on loan, how much does that get off the price? Probably not much.
Probably not much.
Yeah.
But it gets a little bit off.
5 million.
Builds a few more bridges between the clubs.
Because
Vina has got such a great relationship with West Ham.
Because if they just made a bid for Mikey Moore on loan, how much would we be demanding? 2 to 3 million,
not much,
probably.
Nah, less. Yeah. Probably less, I would say. But it's also wages as well, and you're getting a player where I would say just Spurs pay the wages, and you get a player that can make a significant impact for you, and you're paying absolutely nothing for that. So it does have some sort of value. But in terms of getting money off the transfer fee, probably not much.
Yeah. My point being is that's not going to be the deal breaker, is it?
No, but what it could be is something that sways West Ham to more dealing with us than Manchester United.
Right. Potentially. I wonder if Man United have any youngsters that West Ham. Cheetah.
Everyone's just going to send their youngsters to West Ham, but yeah, look, again, another one that's dragging out, and we just need a conclusion. I think all this Tonali and Fernandes stuff is just driving me up the wall. I just need to see a resolution one way or another. I
think we all just want, like, this, you know, Spurs to be swooping in, getting these deals done, acting decisively, putting the money down and getting these signings over the line and lessening any kind of chances of scuppering these deals or getting hijacked and all these different things. And that, you know, given how we've dealt with transfers in the past, it's completely understandable. But at the end of the day, I mean, we've been talking about these for 2 weeks. I think in modern day, right, in 2026, when you're hearing updates to not even every day, every hour, you're hearing, you know, advancing this, that, it can feel like a lot longer than it is. Like 2 weeks, actually, in the grand scheme of things, isn't that much, considering the transfer window only opened 2 weeks ago.
You know what? It just makes it worse that every single day you have these journalists, same journalists, different journalists, just saying the same bloody thing every single day.
Just in a different way, rewording it.
You know what I mean? It's just like so mind draining.
And it gives off the impression that something is happening every day. Something's like, changing. You know?
Exclusive. Tottenham are willing to blow Man United out of the water. Then the next day is exclusive. Man United not willing to match Tottenham's offer. You know what I mean? It's just like the same thing every day.
Because they got, at the end of the day, they have to put something out there so people reading keeps them relevant, and, you know, gets clicks and gets all this stuff. So, I mean, we're obviously going to report on it because, you know, any updates, we need to keep everyone updated and informed about what's being said. And I think people like that. But when it comes to these journalists at the moment, right now, it seems as though nothing has really changed over the last week. It's just, you know, same update, just in different terms.
Yeah, so again, we'll have to wait and see what happens on that front. In terms of Savinho, a lot of people have been wondering what is going on with Savinho. We heard with Savinho once Enzo Maresca gets announced, maybe some dominoes could fall. The only update we have on Savinho is the Mail reporting that Tottenham will need to meet Manchester City's 60 million plus valuation of Savinho. I mean, when you're talking about spending 100 on Tonali, 85 on Fernandes, I mean, over 60 million pounds on Savinho does seem a bit excessive.
Yeah, I've always said I think 60 is a bit much. I think 45 to 50 is probably the sweet spot right now for Savinho, considering his stock is probably a bit lower than it was a year ago when they were demanding a similar fee to that. So it kind of all depends how much does Maresca rate him. Maybe Maresca wants to take a look at him before, selling him. Maybe he thinks he's got some value, or maybe not. And I think that maybe that decision, that might need. Because I don't know when they're going to start pre-season or whatever, or players going to be back, but maybe that might take a few weeks to determine. I think it might have been actually it might have been more worth it for us to try and get this deal done before Maresca came in, just so we could kind of, because Man City at that point seemed to be willing, and it seemed as though if we could have got a deal agreed before Maresca got in, that avoids any doubt. But now Maresca's there, we have to kind of wait, and Maresca might have his own ideas. So let's see. I think 60 million is a bit excessive. But then again, who do we go for if we pull out Savinho? And obviously we need more Savinho plus another one. I'm not saying there's not. There are wingers out there, don't get me wrong, but I think Savinho is a really good talent, and I do want him at Tottenham. So if he doesn't want him, I think that we could get that price down.
You say there are other wingers out there, but someone just said in the comments, have you seen the winger market? Like, the winger market, it ain't that great.
I mean, look at the World Cup. I mean, there's not like tons of great wingers, are there?
You look at the Premier League alone, right? Just look at the Premier League. Who are the top left wingers in the Premier League?
The top left wingers on the Premier League, Doku.
Yeah, like outside of the top teams, like that attainable. Like, we're not going to sign Doku. We're not going to sign a player from Man City, apart from Savinho. If you're going to sign a player from a top team, he's got to be out of favour, right? So who are the top left wingers, like outside of the teams that we're unattainable from, like Arsenal, Man City, Liverpool? Like, you're talking about Gakpo.
Yeah, Rashford.
Savinho,
maybe.
Rashford. Who else is there? Yeah.
Shade.
You know what I mean?
Talking about Rodgers, yeah. I mean, if you're talking about Premier League, but yeah, I mean, there's obviously
even outside of the Premier League, like, who is there that really is convincing?
It depends on your scouting. Your scouting's good enough. There's always players, but that's the big question, isn't it? With our scouting, it's not great.
Yeah, but usually, like, there's players you could think of off the top of your head when you're thinking about players you can bring in, but there's not many.
El Mala.
El Mala.
Said El Mala. Rafael Leao. I mean, yeah, it's tough. Kinsky bomber. Something happened. Anyway. No, I get your point. But look, yeah, you go. We just announced it. I get your point. The market is tough, especially in the Premier League, which is part of the reason I do want Savinho at Tottenham. I just think 60 million is a bit of an overpayment, but I mean, I think we can get that price down. I'm not saying I wouldn't go for him for 60. I'm just saying it's a bit of an overpayment.
Let's move on. Let's talk about Lucas Bergvall. Interesting reports on him. Damasio saying that Tottenham are reportedly refusing to accept less than 50 million euros for Lucas Bergvall. Tottenham recently rejected an offer from an English club, which is likely Nottingham Forest, and I don't think they'll go below that threshold. It's always going to take 50 million euros or more, or above 50 million euros. Napoli, who are among the most interested teams in Italy, have made an effort to understand and thought perhaps at the most they could land him for about 40 million euros. However, John Percy has said that Tottenham's stance on Lucas Bergvall is that he's not for sale. De Zerbi and Lange are both understood to have held talks with the midfielder to assure him he's part of the club's future plans.
Which is quite interesting.
It's interesting, but obviously, I don't know. I think if a bid, worthy of them accepting, like he says, above 50 million, I think we'll probably accept it. But I'd prefer to keep Bergvall and maybe loan him out for the next year or two.
I do wonder if that's currently our stance until there's actual movement with Tonali and Fernandes and whoever. Because you don't want to sell him and then not get the other targets and be left running around trying to get someone who's as good as Bergvall essentially. So I think maybe,
or could it be because something's broken down behind the scenes?
I mean it could be, absolutely could be. I think it would be. I think right now, unless it depends how confident we are.
When are you going to see in the press? Well, when they first come back for pre-season, you can say De Zerbi's been blown away by Lucas Bergvall and Archie Gray in training.
Exactly, it won't be long. It won't be long. Look, we've all obviously spoken about how much we think of Bergvall, how highly we rate him as a talent. So I'm not going to sit here and say I don't want him to stay, because obviously I do, and I like the update in a way, but I do get the feeling that's going to be the current stance. And I think as a club, it will be the stance, because you're obviously trying to get the highest offer, and it's not like the end of the world if you end up keeping him. I think obviously the thing for Bergvall is he wants to leave to get more game time. That's the main thing. I don't think Tottenham are like desperate to sell him. Obviously we do need to raise funds from somewhere, and there has to be some movement to fit all these players in. I get that. I'm not necessarily saying it has to be Bergvall, but I'm saying I think obviously as a club we rate him. We think he's a really talented player and we would like to keep him. But Bergvall himself, he wants to leave to get more minutes and develop as a player. And now the fact that he wants to leave probably Tottenham look at the situation and think, okay, we want to keep you, but if you're really pushing to leave, you're not happy here, and we're getting these other players, we are open to letting you go for a really good fee because we still really rate you. But right now we haven't got those guys over the line, have we? The Tonali and Fernandes and whatever, and we have to wait and see what happens with that. So right now, I think that stance makes sense. He's not for sale unless a ridiculous offer does come in. Right now, we're not going to sell because obviously, once we do sign those players, it probably lowers the price potentially and weakens our negotiation, because people will probably know he's more available. But until that happens, he's our player, and I think that's probably the right stance. And look, I for one hope he stays in the long term, and I hope, I would love it if he's battling out with Fernandes and with Tonali for a starting spot, and I think that would be the perfect scenario. But it might not be the perfect scenario for Bergvall, unfortunately. Maybe more for Tottenham.
Look, someone like Bergvall needs to be playing consistently. We saw last year how it stunted his development. And look, I think it was more the positions that he was being utilised in more than the game time he was getting, actually. But the older he gets, the more game time he just needs game time, and I just don't think that's available for him at Spurs next season. So,
although, what's his name? Who did it? Percy. He's claiming that they have given him assurances, but I don't know what assurances they can give him.
They said he gave them assurances that he's part of the future plans. It doesn't mean he's part of the immediate plans.
I think I read also like minutes and assurances on minutes next season or something.
I didn't read that, but maybe you're right. And I think he should be part of the club's future plans. And I would love to see him get a significant amount of game time next season. But how is that going to look? If we are going to bring in Tonali and Fernandes, we've got Conor Gallagher there as well. We've got Sarr, who's might be potentially leaving as well. We've got so many midfielders at the club. We've got Archie Gray. Where are these minutes going to come from? We've got no European football. Unless there's a mad injury crisis, like when's he going to start games? In the cups?
I mean, obviously, hopefully, even though there's one game week, you still need to use your squad, especially in the current game midfield. So, he might be coming on. I know Tonali's got an unbelievable engine, and to be fair, so does Fernandes. But it's a long season, and I think it's more of a squad game than ever, isn't it? So there'll be probably lots of games he's coming on the hour. Lots of games, maybe he even gets a start if he proves himself. I'm not saying he's going to get as many minutes as maybe he did in that first season. I wouldn't say he's never going to play. He's only going to play the cups. I wouldn't say that. But is that enough for him? He probably wants to start 25, 30 games. That's probably where his head's at, and that's obviously not going to be possible.
If he was going to stay next season, I'd envisage, 10 starts in the Premier League next season? Something like that?
Yeah.
And that's probably being generous. So he needs to be starting a lot more games than that, 100%. I would try and convince him to go out on loan. I'm sure there's a Premier League club that would take him on loan for next season. I'm certain of it, with what he's shown so far. So that would be my main priority to try to do with Lucas Bergvall next season.
But I also understand if we do get a bit of 50-odd million and we're getting these other players in.
We've had euros, not
Well,
pounds.
euros, I'm saying. But if we get one, for pounds, and then we are getting these other two players, or even if not them specifically them, like someone of that ilk, getting two of them, then I can understand the club's position saying, look, if he really wants to go, we'll take that money and we'll have to just move on, and that's it. But I'd rather we didn't. I'd rather keep him here and develop him ourselves, and hopefully he can really, especially when we're in Europe, he really becomes a key figure for us.
And also, the added aspect of it, him and Archie Gray become homegrown players next season. And that is a massive value to us if we keep them around next season. They have to stay at the club. They can't go out on loan for that to happen. So if Bergvall and Gray, and then hopefully back in Europe next season, that'll be because if they don't stay, then next season we're in that predicament again where we don't have any club-trained players. Pretty much Brandon Austin, and that's it. So, yeah, there's that aspect as well, where it's a massive value to keep him in, not just for his footballing ability, but squad building as well.
It's true. It's absolutely right. So it's going to be interesting how this one develops. I really hope it doesn't end with him leaving permanently. I really hope that's not how it ends.
Because I think from Spurs' point of view, they're like, well, we've done the hard yards of giving him minutes when he was like 18, 19 in the Premier League, in a view of, building him up, getting him ready to be a top player in a few years' time, and to be club trained for next season. And then if he goes the year before that actually happens, I can see that's why this club don't want to sell him.
But on the flip side, if you sign someone, an 18-year-old for 8 million, and sell him 2 years later for 50, that's also pretty successful, isn't it?
It is successful, but then it does put us in the shit when we do our club building for next season.
Yeah.
Or squad building. Archie Gray, there's an update on him. Team Talk claiming that Tottenham have no plans to let Archie Gray leave this summer, despite the ongoing midfield rebuild. Spurs view the 20-year-old as a key part of the club's long-term project, with the player also fully committed to staying in North London. Interest from elsewhere is not expected to change their stance. And do you reckon Archie could look at, Lucas and be like, well, if he's not going to get game time, how am I going to get game time?
Well, if he leaves, it ups his chances, doesn't it? I also think Archie is probably a little bit less worried about that, just because he's so much more versatile. So there's going to be more opportunities. But we know that Gray
is there though, because he got a lot of opportunities in the back line. The back line's fully stocked now. The back line wasn't stocked when he was getting minutes there.
Yeah, I guess depends who's going to be here by the end of the summer. Yeah, I mean, you're right. There is a lot more options now, so it lessens the need for Gray to play in those positions. But still, you might get a couple of injuries at right back, and then you put him in there. You might get a couple of injuries left back or whatever. So there's still. My point being is he can fit in there. Bergvall can't. So naturally, there probably is going to be a few more opportunities to fill in those positions. When it comes to midfield, yeah, it's a tough one. I mean, it's interesting because the players we're linked with are not really. You wouldn't class them as like defensive midfielders, would you? Whereas that's where Gray positions himself. We've got Bentancur.
Gray actually, he's come out and said his favourite position is number 8.
Yeah. Yeah, but he's more of a. He is a number 8, but he's more of kind of like. I think he's. Well, how I see Gray, he's kind of more of a defensive player than he is an attacking player. That's just kind of how I see him. That's where he seems to excel the best in his defensive work, I would say.
I'd say he's good on the ball as well, though.
Yeah, defensive player doesn't mean bad on the ball. It just means, I think, where his focus usually is defensively. That's where he usually does his best stuff. You don't really see him too much. I mean, he did all right when he was playing a light fullback and gained final third. He did some good things, but you don't really say, he doesn't take too many shots. He doesn't play too many killer balls, or he doesn't seem so creative in the final third, anything like that. But he seems to have great positional sense. He does great slide tackles. He's great at reading the game. All those kind of stuff. So off the ball is, defensively, that's where he seems to excel. So I do wonder whether if we sign Fernandes and Tonali, is it going to be maybe Bentancur and Gray rotating in one? Obviously, we want to see Tonali and Fernandes together. We could play 4-3-3. And with 3 in the middle, and then Gray could be an option. I also think Gray is going to get a lot of minutes coming off the bench, in certain games. He's a very good tactical tool. So obviously he looks at Bergvall, and he probably also has those reservations. But I also think Gray is just naturally going to have more options to play than Bergvall.
Look, I just want to keep both of these guys around. I believe in both of them so much. And again, I bring it back to the squad building for next season. Both of these guys are club trained, and you can't underestimate the value of that for when we're back in Europe next season. So I think it's important to keep both of them around. However, if one of them wants to leave, or if they want to leave, I don't think you can stand in their way, because first of all, you get a big fee for them, and second of all, I just don't think it's right to hold a player against their will, especially like a young player that needs minutes. I think you're just hampering their development and holding them back. I just don't think there's a need for it.
Well, it depends. If you think as much as they want to leave and they're getting frustrated, you might think, look, might think you have other plans for them, and he's still your player. If you believe in them, then you I think within all right. Like, for example, Sonny wanted to leave, didn't he? And we ended up convincing him to stay, or we ended up keeping him, and he wanted to go, but that turned out for the better. So it doesn't necessarily mean just because a player wants.
Situation though.
I mean, he
weren't
wanted
signing players in Sonny's position. You know, Sonny was he was supposed to be a main guy. You know, Gray and Bergvall are young players, and we're signing players ahead of them now, and we even signed players ahead of them in January. So I think it's a completely different situation.
Yeah, I guess. I hear what you're saying, but it's up to. I think we have to make that judgment. Is it worth keeping them around for us? I mean, we have to think about us first, and then it's not about being fair to them. They're still 20. They're still very young. They've got a lot of years ahead of them. If we think we can use them, and they're good enough to play for us, we should keep them.
Yeah, we'll just keep them, but their value is only going to go down if we don't play them.
Of course.
And
we have to be of use to them. We have to play them.
Or for them or for us, if we keep them around and don't play them. You know?
Obviously, that's true. But my point being is, even if they're worried about their game time, if you're certain about it, keep them.
Yeah.
That's my point.
Then some other midfielders would have to leave, like Bentancur will probably have to leave. You know, other players.
We're already talking about Sarr leaving.
Sarr, you know, these guys have to leave. If you want to do it, then you've got to put Archie Gray and Bergvall as the immediate backups. I don't see another way of them getting minutes.
I think it's a squad game. They'll get minutes, but it's whether as many minutes as they would like. Look, there's only with no Europe, there's only a certain amount of minutes, but it's only 1 year as well. Hopefully, obviously, and then maybe if you don't get in Europe again, maybe you reassess
these
it.
Are such important years for players of that age. You know, they need to be playing to continue their development. And I can see where Bergvall's coming from 100%.
Oh, of course. I don't disagree with that at all. I think Gray's a bit different, because I think Gray, he will get minutes, I think, regardless. He just always seems to. And I think there's so many more injuries now in football. I think it's so much more of a squad game. You just need to, as well, you need players like Gray who can fill in different positions.
Let's talk about Mikey Moore. Alistair Gold did an article before, and he said a queue of clubs from both England and across Europe have lined up, all looking to take the teenager next season, either permanently or on loan. Spurs are not interested in selling Mikey Moore this summer, despite the Spurs, the squad overhaul currently being undertaken with likely sales, and De Zerbi wants to take a closer look at the talented teen in pre-season when players return to Hotspur Way on July the 10th. The Italian will then make a decision whether to keep the youngster involved in the first team set up for the first half of the season, or if with a lack of fixtures ahead at Tottenham due to the absence of European football, it is better to allow him on another loan spell elsewhere to ensure he starts week in, week out to continue the development that he had in Scotland. So it'd be interesting to see where De Zerbi sees Mikey Moore. I do think that it will be another loan spell, though.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. It'll be interesting to see how he comes out over the summer, because I remember, when was it? Obviously, it's a different situation, but I remember hearing, who was it? There was someone talking about Gareth Bale, and he said there was one summer where he went from just being like this little scrawny kid who was getting shuffled off the ball, and he came back like he was a rugby player. And like, I'm not saying Mikey Moore's going to have that extent of a transformation, but it's going to be interesting to see if he does do some work over the summer a bit physically. We know he's got the talent. We know he's good enough, technically probably, to be playing in the Premier League. The big question mark is physically. Can he hold players off? Can he make sure he's not getting bullied off the ball all the time? And right now there's a big question mark about that. But let's say he does some relevant work over the summer, and he comes into pre-season and really impresses, then maybe he can surprise some people. I think if we get the Mikey Moore we saw at Rangers, he's probably still going to go on loan. He still needs to be even better than that to be part of the first team. But we'll see. We'll see how he comes back over the summer. And we know with young players as well, they can change very quickly. They can develop physically quite quickly as well. So it can kind of happen at any time, but it might not happen just yet.
If that does happen, we don't need to sign him.
Potentially,
two left wingers, that's for sure.
Yeah, for sure. I'd love to keep him around and him to show that he's good enough. And I'd love to have an academy player. Again, I've missed it since Kane's gone and stuff, and we haven't had that in the team or a regular player. So I'd love to have that again. So let's see what De Zerbi thinks of him. Let's see if he's ready or not. Either way, I think long term, hopefully he'll be part of the plans. Whether it be a loan deal this summer or not, we'll see. But my gut's telling me maybe it's going to be a bit too soon. Yes, as it says on screen, still only 18, still so young. But who knows? Maybe he can surprise some people.
Next up, we've got an update regarding Manor Solomon, the forgotten man at Spurs. Corriere dello Sport saying that Fiorentina remain interested in signing Manor Solomon permanently, but Tottenham would need to slash their €10 million asking price by half for a deal to become feasible. Spurs are understood to be open to negotiating the valuation. I mean, you see there on Transfer Market, he's valued at 8 million. I think, Spurs will probably have to go like 4 or 5 million for it, and maybe even that's a bit too much.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? Because after the Leeds loan, we were thinking there should be lots of clubs looking at him. And maybe we just demanded too much. I think it was 20 million at the time, which didn't seem outrageous when we were talking about it. But maybe once it won the just championship, level, maybe we should have been more willing to go to like 10 or something like that, or 15, because he struggled to get a move. Leeds didn't even sign him back for that. So yeah, maybe that was a misstep how we handled his departure that summer. But I think it's time for him to move on.
Yeah, because Leeds were actually wanting him back. They were in negotiations with us, but we basically outpriced them with a move.
Yeah,
that's what
and
happened.
That was a massive mistake, wasn't it, in hindsight? So we're not going to get any of the fee. I think he's obviously, potentially, he's worth a lot more than what we're going to sell him for. But it is what it is. It's been a few years now.
Isn't it? It's
true, we did sign him on a free, No, I think there was obviously he's a good player in there. But I just think circumstances have led to us going to have to basically give him away for a really cheap fee, probably a lot less than we would have liked to. But
yeah, his stock was at the highest after that Leeds loan.
Yeah, probably
could have got about 10 million for him then, but we wanted 20. And now we want 10, and the team's are only willing to pay 5.
Yeah.
So, I think he'll go. Don't know where he'll go, but Fiorentina and Paratici want to take him off our hands. So go for it. And there's just been some breaking news on the Spurs official accounts. Antonin Kinsky has officially signed his new contract. As you can see him here, talking to camera. Lovely stuff. He's got a nice little tan about him, Mr. Tonda Kinsky.
Hello Spurs fans, it's Tony Kinsky here. I'm so happy to sign my new contract at Spurs and to extend my stay. Last season we experienced a lot of emotions, a lot of positive emotions eventually. And
a lot more to come. Come on, Kinsky.
Definitely a lot more to come, because we will make sure that there is a lot more to come. So
I'm delighted for him.
See you next season.
The right,
come on, you Spurs.
Tony Kinsky to be the #1 next season. Fantastic news, in my opinion. And you saw his confidence growing ever since being in the team, and now he's got that contract. He's pretty much been made #1. Probably have the #1 on the back of his jersey as well. That confidence is going to skyrocket, isn't it?
Yeah, for sure. And I think as well, the fact that he performed in such a high pressure situation will, because hopefully, it's not going to be that high pressure all the time, is it? Battling relegation. So I think
hopefully it'll be high pressure in a different way.
Yeah, of course. But I always think the pressure relegation that's always probably the highest form of pressure. And
especially for us.
well, if you can come in that situation, especially after what happened in Atletico, in Madrid, and if you can perform in that situation, then that will show that will give him so much confidence. He'll feel invincible, and I think De Zerbi's looked at that, seen what he can do. Probably also looked at the price of keepers at the moment for that would have to pay, and seen seen his character, seen how his quality as well, and thought, you know what, this guy is willing to give him a shot and it's worth investing in. And I'm delighted for him. Very few players come back from that kind of thing that happened to him, and especially in that moment, especially given that he wasn't given a chance before, got his chance, and then that happened and had to come back from that. So having come through all he's come through, hopefully the only way is up. You know what I mean? Hopefully it only gets easier for him.
I think so. And if it goes right for him next season, we've got a number one there for like the next 10 years, literally. So that's why I always thought like there was no point spending big money on a goalkeeper with what he's shown in the last 7 games of the season, not just in goalkeeping, but mental strength as well. It's a massive aspect of being goalkeeper, your mental strength.
Yeah, for sure.
And I think he's shown that in abundance after coming back from Atletico. So I thought it was always right. Give him the number 1 jersey, let him prove himself over the course of this season. And then, if it's not right, we'll reassess it next summer. But for now, he's earned the right and he's earned the shirt.
Yeah, I do wonder in different circumstances, would we have given him the number 1 shirt, or was he always destined for it? For example, if the squad was in a different place, if we didn't have as many holes to plug as we do, would we have pushed the boat out and got over Bruggen or something? Or would we have given him the number 1 regardless, of the situation? So yeah, those are obviously questions. There are still question marks about him in terms of certain things, but look, he is a young keeper. I'm confident that he can really improve on what happened last season, and I'm just delighted for him. I really am. I think it's a real heartwarming kind of journey and story that's happened last season, and I really hope he goes from strength to strength. We all know, I think we can all see there is a good keeper in there.
I mean, that's like one of the biggest turnarounds I've seen from that game at Atletico to now.
Yeah.
Crazy. So big up to Antonin Kinsky. Brand new bumper contract, long-term contract, and hopefully he'll be our number 1 for many years to come.
There's some quotes you want to...
Oh, the quotes.
Some quotes from Johan and De Zerbi.
Well, the quotes from Antonin is, "I'm so happy and I can feel the trust from the club. When I joined 18 months ago, my expectations were to fight for my place in the team and to wear this shirt every week. It's been a real journey to get here and a nice story already, and I'm looking forward to what lies ahead over the next months and years. Everyone around the club feels that we can have a successful season, and I want to contribute to that. We want to give the fans what they want and what the club deserves." Johan Lang says, "From the moment we identified Tony as a target, we were convinced he had the qualities, character and mentality to become an important player for the club. We've been delighted with the way he has adapted over the past 18 months, both on and off the pitch, and this contract reflects our confidence in the continued development. Tony has an outstanding work ethic, a strong desire to improve on the attributes required to perform at the highest level. Securing his long-term future is an important step for us, and we're excited to see him fulfill the potential we believe he possesses." And De Zerbi says, "Tony was outstanding over the final 7 games of the season and a key part of what we achieved over that period. I'm delighted he has committed his future to the club. He has earned his new contract, not only with his performances, but also with his professionalism and desire to improve. We have a huge belief in what Tony can become. He is still young, has an enormous potential, and I know that Spurs is the perfect place for him to continue to develop into one of the best goalkeepers in Europe." And then it just talks about his history. So, yeah.
Big words there. One of the best goalkeepers in Europe. I mean, obviously, let's hope, it's big. That's going to give him confidence, and that's obviously big words from De Zerbi to say that.
I think he does have the attributes to do it. I mean, at 23 years of age, you talk about how comfortable he is on the ball. His shot stopping is obviously dramatically improved. I would say, his even claiming his crosses, I think he looks strong in that aspect. His positioning, needs work for sure. But I think every other metric and every other aspect he seems to be performing well at right now.
And to be fair, it's, especially earlier in the season, because we were judging him quite harshly. I remember the Newcastle game, came in the Carabao and struggled, got beaten in the air by Voltemada and stuff. And then obviously the Atletico game, he came in, and what happened there, we know. But it can be quite hard for a keeper to when they're just coming in here and there to really impress, and it puts a lot of pressure on them. But he proved, give him a bit of a stretch of games and give him trust to be that number one, and he showed what he can do. And he showed that how much he has improved. Because you remember, as we were talking about last season, when he came in January, he obviously had that very good game against Liverpool, and he had some other good games, but a lot of the time there was some soft goals going in, and he also showed there's a lot of things he has to improve on to become number one here. But he also showed some potential. But I think he's already shown in those 7 games how much he's improved from that level, and that's all you can really ask for, and showing that level of improvement year on year, and that shows how good how he has developed. So that maybe when you take that into account, he can develop even a lot more, playing even more regularly, and that's how much he's developed not playing that regularly.
Yeah, exactly. And I think his style of goalkeeping is just much more suited to us as well. Now we've got Roberto De Zerbi at the helm, so yeah, massive props to Antonin Kinsky, what he's achieved so far at Spurs, and hopefully he goes from strength to strength. So that is pretty much all the news that we have for you today. We got a couple of super chats. There has been a request of you, Sib.
Me?
They want this Anyup. He asked us yesterday, and he's asking us again today, saying, can we compare Tonali, Fernandes and Garner on Data MB? And
James Garner.
Check out Mikatadze and Guriri for centre forward. Suits well the De Zerbi style. Come on, you Spurs.
Yeah, Guri had been decent this World Cup for Algeria. Mikatadze, he was all the rage. I remember, was it at the Euros for Georgia, wasn't it?
Yeah.
But they didn't make the World Cup this time round. Let's compare Tonali, Fernandes and Garner on Data MB. All right, I mean, can do. Let me see. You know what? I can take a screenshot and you can put it up. Players, midfielders.
I'll just do the other super chat while we wait. Is Conan Taki 14 saying, to be a big club, you need to effing act like one, 100%. And I think we're trying. Let's actually follow through on it. Let's see what can happen. But yeah, I completely agree with that. Of course you do. We've been saying that for years. That's all we've been saying. The illusion of this football club, with the training ground, with the stadium, with everything. It looks like a big club, but we haven't been acting like a big club. Let's hope we can follow through on these actions this summer and actually become that big club that we've all been speaking about. Let's get this graph up then.
Does make for some interesting reading. Yeah, that's it, yeah. This is what was requested. I think I can see why he's requested it. Because it looked like a James Garner.
Okay.
So Garner's in green.
Yeah.
Tonali's in blue. Fernandes in red. And James Garner does look. To be fair, I think Garner's a really good player. I do actually rate Garner quite highly. He's obviously been in the England squad recently. Didn't quite make the call up, but I think there are clubs looking at James Garner. I think, and I wouldn't be surprised if he does get moved. I don't know about a top 6 club, but I wouldn't be surprised. Do
you think he's someone that we should be looking at?
I wouldn't be surprised. You know what? I wouldn't be shocked if Newcastle sign him to replace Tonali at all. I would not be surprised. The thing is with the Data MB. Slightly, I'm not saying it's bad information. I'm just saying the percentiles are totals and not per 90s. I think with Data MB, so you don't really get the full picture. You get a bit like it's a bit of a. Obviously, it gives you some. This is like totals over a season, so you get some information. But per 90s, I feel like I'm more accurate to how good a player is at certain metrics rather than a total overall. Because if some player plays X amount of games and some player doesn't, changes it. So I don't know what a per 90 thing would look with these stats. But yeah, James Garner did have a phenomenal season. He had a phenomenal season. As you can see, he beats Tonali, Fernandes. In most metrics, except for carrying, everything apart from carrying. And forward passing, Fernandes slightly ahead. Progressive passes are all quite similar. Yeah, key passes, Ghana clearly created more chances last season. Possession one, yeah, Tonali's a lot lower than I thought there, possession one. But again, I don't know what the per 90s were. FB ref I always felt was a lot better at this, but obviously we've lost all that information now. It's such a shame. But yeah, my point would be, it's, you know, that does say something, but I wouldn't take Data MB as that kind of illustrative. It's just not the best site, unfortunately.
I mean, is Anyup trying to suggest to us that
we should go
James
for Ghana
Garner is a better player than Sandro Tonali?
Yeah, potentially. Or he's trying to say he performs better in the data, that's for sure. And that's maybe something to be considered. I actually don't think Ghana would be a bad signing for Tottenham.
The thing is, right, I think, though, you've got to look at the roles within the team as well. You look at Ghana's role for Everton and Tonali's role for Newcastle. Obviously, Ghana is Everton's most attacking midfielder, central midfielder.
Well, you got Dewsbury Hall.
Yeah, I guess, but he also hasn't played every game. He's also been in and out of the team. Ghana's been there like literally game week in, week out, non-stop. Whereas Tonali has got Bruno Guimaraes next to him, and he's obviously...
And also he's got Joe Linton, who wins a lot of the challenges as well, and he's kind of... Tonali's kind of the engine room in that midfield.
Yeah.
That's kind of his role. Whereas like Joe Linton is, you know, he snaps people's legs, and Bruno is... he passes the ball forward, and then Tonali's just that engine room. So yeah, everyone fulfills their different roles in certain systems.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, let us know your thoughts in the comment section below. Obviously, if anything breaks, anything happens, we'll be right here to bring it to you guys. A quick mention for OK Jersey one more time. Big up to them. Unbelievable sports clubber on okjersey.com. With our code Spurs15, you can get 15% off, people. And it's already cheap, and it becomes even cheaper. Top quality stuff. All your World Cup gear, all your Tottenham gear from past and present. The new ones will be up there very, very soon, and no doubt all the new training gear and stuff like that will be there. You know, all top quality. So get yourselves over to OK Jersey. The link is in the live chat, as well as the code to get 15% off. So you better get in there quick, because we've been told for a week now that the 15% code is not going to be valid for much longer. However, it still is valid. So
it's still there.
Use it while you can, people. I want to thank you all for joining us today. We'll see you all very, very soon. Who knows? We might see you again today. Like, subscribe, and comment. And as always, come on, you Spurs.